Canto 21. Now my eyes were fixed again upon my lady's face, and with my eyes my mind drew back from any other thought. She was not smiling. If I smiled, she said, you would become what Semele became when she was turned to ashes. For my beauty, which you have seen flame up more brilliantly the higher we ascend the stairs of this eternal palace, is so resplendent that, were it not tempered in its blazing, your mortal powers would be like tree limbs rent and scorched by lightning. We have risen to the seventh splendor, which, beneath the burning lion's breast, sends down its rays, now mingled with his power. Set your mind behind your eyes, so that they may become the mirrors for the shape that in this heaven's mirror will appear to you. When I was told to set my mind on other things, only one who knew how much my eyes could feast upon that blessed countenance would understand what joy it was to me only to obey my heavenly guide, balancing one side of the scale against the other. Within the crystal circling our earth, that bears the name of the world's beloved King, under whose rule all wickedness lay dead, the color of gold, an array of sunlight, I saw a ladder, rising to so great a height, my eyesight could not rise along with it. I also saw, descending on its rungs, so many splendors, that I thought that every light shining in the heavens was pouring down. And as, following their normal instinct, rooks rise up together at the break of day, warming their feathers, stiffened by the cold, and some of them fly off, not to return, while some turn back to where they had set out, and some keep wheeling overhead. Just such varied motions did I observe within that sparkling throng, which came as one, as soon as it had reached one of the rungs. And the one that stayed the closest there to us grew so shining bright, I said, but not aloud, this sign makes clear your love for me. But she, upon whose word I wait to know when and how to speak or to be silent, she keeps still, and I do well, against my will, to ask no question. She, therefore, who could see my silence plain in the sight of him whose sight beholds all things, then said, satisfy the ardent wish that burns within you. And I, my merit does not make me worthy of your answer, but for the sake of her who gives me leave to ask, blessed living soul, still hidden in the radiance of your joy, make known to me the cause that made you draw so near. And tell me why, within this wheel, the sweet symphony of paradise falls silent, which lower down resounds with such devotion. Your hearing is as mortal as your sight, he answered. Thus here there is no song, for the very reason Beatrice has not smiled. I have come down the sacred ladder's rungs this far only to bid you welcome with my words, and with the light that wraps me in its glow. It was not greater love that made me come more swiftly, for as much and more love burns above, as that flaming luminescence shows, but the profound affection prompting us to serve the wisdom governing the world has brought about the outcome you perceive. I see indeed, O sacred light, I said, how acts of love unbidden serve this court in concord with that knowledge which foresees, but it is hard for me to understand why you alone among your peers were foreordained to act upon this charge. I had not yet quite finished with my words when the light began to spin around its core, whirling like a quickly turning millstone. Then the love that was within it spoke. Divine light focuses on me, piercing the radiance that holds me in its womb. Its power, conjoined with my own sight, raises me so far above myself that I can see the highest essence, the source from which it flows. And this inflames the joy with which I burn, for in the clarity of my sight I match the clearness of my flame. None the less, the most enlightened soul in heaven, that seraph who fixes most his eye on God, could not produce an answer to your question. For what you ask is hidden in the depths of the abyss of God's eternal law, so that the sight of any creature he created is cut off from it. And to the mortal world, when you return, bear this report, so that it shall no more presume to set its steps towards such a goal. The mind, here bright, is dimmed by smoke on earth. Ask yourself then, how could it do down there what it cannot, though heaven raise it to itself? His words so reined me in, that I withdrew the question, limiting myself to asking humbly who he was. Between Italy's two shores, and not far distant from your homeland, crags rise so high that thunder rolls below them. They form a ridge called Catria. A consecrated monastery stands below, once dedicated wholly to God's worship. Thus the third time he began, addressing me, and then went on. There I became so constant, serving God, my simple fare seasoned with olive oil alone, that I readily endured the heat and frost, content in contemplation. That cloister which used to yield abundant harvest to these heavens now is barren, but soon its barrenness must be revealed. In that place I was known as Peter Damian, but Peter the sinner in the house of Our Lady on the Adriatic shore. Little of mortal life on earth was left to me when I was singled out and dragged to that red hat which now is passed from bad to worse. Cephas came, and the exalted vessel of the Holy Spirit came, lean and barefoot, receiving their food at any doorway. Now our modern shepherds call for one on this side, one on that, to support them. They are so bloated, and one to go before, one to boost them from behind. Their fur-lined mantles hang upon their horses' flanks, so that two beasts go underneath one skin. O patience, what a heavy load you bear! As he spoke, I saw more flickering flames descend, spinning from rung to rung, at every turn more lovely. They thronged around him, and then stopped and raised a cry so loud that nothing here could be compared to it, nor could I make it out, so did its thunder overwhelm me.